If you ask a highly skilled PvP player what's one of the best assets to any hunter, they're probably gonna say the hunter's tool belt. Similar to Batman, who uses a utility belt to stop bad guys, hunters do the same, if that be using their grenades or melee ability. Lately, I've been catching myself dabbling into more void-based subclasses and have been coming up with some pretty fun and deadly loadouts. And today, we're going to be talking about 3 builds that made me take off the stompies and put on other exotics. By the end of this video, you'll be holding F to dismantle those stompies and putting on some different exotics. But with that out of the way, let's get into today's builds. Before we get into each build and exotic, for all of the builds that are featured in today's video, I was using the perk Bomber. Since majority of these builds require your class ability to be activated, by using Bomber mods, you can lower the cooldown of your grenade each time on the initial dodge. I also paired it with the mod Powerful Friends and Radiant Light, both of which can provide a +20 to mobility and a +20 to strength. All of these are going to allow you to use your abilities more often. Our first build is going to revolve around the exotic that got nerfed the first week it was released, and then everyone stopped using it. We have the Radiant's Dance Machines. For starters, when you equip this exotic, your hunter gains a +2 to sex appeal. I'm just playing, but come on, who needs an ornament when you look this good? The exotic perk is the dance. Activating your dodge while near your target allows you to dodge additional times for a short period. Pretty much when you activate your dodge, this starts a timer of 5 seconds where you can dodge indefinitely until the timer is finished. After testing, the max number of dodges I was able to acquire was 6. Pretty crazy if you ask me. Felt like I was breakdancing. Now, to start off today's build, we're going to want to use Top Tree Void, Wave the Trapper. Now, the perk we're going to be focusing on is Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you vanish from sight for a short time. Now, pairing this in combination with the Dance Machines, this will allow you to go invisible multiple times. But this is where we start piecing together the rest of the builds. Now, you're going to want to be using Gambler's Dodge. When dodging your enemies, this fully charges your melee ability. And if you haven't guessed it by now, every time you dodge with Radiant Dance Machines, you're going to have a fully charged melee. But alright, you're probably wondering, how is this going to help me win more engagements? Well, you now have multiple engagement options. For starters, if you go up against a solo enemy, you can easily break their ankles and confuse them when utilizing the Radiant Dance Machines. But if you catch yourself going up against multiple enemies, you can lead the engagement with a smoke bomb. And when you begin to dance on your enemy, you are now granted a fully charged melee every time you successfully dodge. Also, utilizing Radiant Dance Machines has helped me escape some really sticky situations. Overall, this is a great tactic in any game mode you plan on jumping into, especially higher end competitive modes such as Trials. As for stat breakdown, I would focus on having as much mobility as possible so you can lower the cooldown of your class ability, allowing you to dodge more often. Moving on into our next build, it revolves around an exotic mainly used for PvE, pretty much Grandmasters. We have the exotic chest piece, the Omnioculus. This comes with the exotic perk Beyond the Veil. You gain a second smoke bomb and have damage resistance while invisible. When you make an ally invisible, they gain damage resistance and you gain melee ability energy. So our last build was focused around Top Tree. This one is going to be focused on Wave the Pathfinder. With this exotic, there is so much synergy with this ability tree. With the perk Combat Provision, damaging enemies with grenades grants melee ability energy. Making allies invisible grants grenade energy. That last phrase right there, we're going to focus on that right there. Making allies invisible grants grenade energy. But with the exotic Omnioculus, making allies invisible grants melee energy, thus allowing you to have a faster cooldown on your grenade energy and your melee energy. That is double dipping right there. It might be frowned upon with ketchup, but not frowned upon with perks. It's a big W for us. Now, Nightstalkers are known for one thing, the Wombo Combo, smoking your enemies and then finishing them off with a grenade. Well, the first part of Combat Provision mentions that damaging enemies with a grenade grants melee ability energy. This is what I like to call synergy. You're being rewarded for being offensive and a team player. So if you use your melee ability on your teammates, you and them gain damage resistance and you gain melee ability energy. But if you plan on using this against enemies, this is where you double dip into the perk Combat Provision. But let's not forget that you and whoever you smoke gain the perk Heart of the Pack, which is yet another buff. This grants a plus 34 to your armor, recovery, and agility. It also gives you a boost to weapon reload speed and handling. What I really like about this exotic and running it with Wave the Pathfinder is that you can be offensive and defensive. You can always conceal yourself, teammates, and sneak into the next fight with a wombo combo ready, or you can go right into the gunfight activating combat provision. Now, where do you want to focus your stats? I would say to aim on getting your mobility, recovery, and discipline as high as possible. This will result in a faster cooldown on your dodge ability, your grenades, and being able to get out of a gunfight and recover much quicker. Now, our last build has been featured in a previous video. If you enjoy being a ninja and sneaking up on your enemy, then you need to use the exotic, the Gemini Jester. This comes with the exotic perk Misdirection. Dodge and disorients nearby enemies and temporarily removes their radar. Now, with this exotic, I've found a lot of benefits using it with Wave the Trapper, since this pairs extremely well with the perk Vanishing Step. When utilizing your dodge, you'll cause your enemy to lose their radar and you'll be invisible. But let's not forget that if you really want to throw off your enemy, you can utilize your smoke bomb, throw it against the wall, bamboozle your enemy because they'll turn around on that, disable their radar, thus allowing you to get the upper hand on your enemy. Now, before I see it in the comment section,
But Brave, it's just the radar.
look, even the best player utilizes their radar. Sure, they can get away with visual indicators and audio cues, but take their radar right before a gunfight ultimately gives you the upper hand. This doesn't even factor in the invisibility factor. Keep in mind that you don't have to be offensive with this build here. If you're caught off guard and take significant damage, you can always dodge, disable your enemy's radar, and conceal yourself, which will give you ample time to recover to get back into that gunfight. Essentially, the premise around this build focuses on throwing a monkey wrench into your enemy's team chemistry. Regardless if you're in basic control or game 7 of Trials, constantly taking your enemy's radar can be really annoying, but it can open up a lot of opportunities for you and your teammates to attack your enemies from different locations without them realizing it. As for stats, I would focus on getting your mobility stat as high as possible so you can have a faster cooldown on your class ability. Alright, only because I was gonna see it in the comment section. Brave, what about the Graviton Forfeit? The last build, the fourth build we have for this video, is gonna be focused around Graviton Forfeit, which is an exotic helmet. This exotic comes with the perk Vanishing Shadow. Increases the duration of any invisibility effects. While you are invisible, your melee recharges faster, your weapons reload faster, and your recovery is greatly increased. This exotic pairs extremely well with both Wave the Pathfinder and Wave the Trapper. If you decide to run this with Wave the Pathfinder, when you smoke yourself, you're not only activating Vanishing Shadow, but you're also activating the perk Heart of the Pack, which increases armor, recovery, and agility. Essentially, when you smoke yourself, you are now supercharging your Guardian. Keep in mind that if you decide to smoke yourself and teammates, you'll be activating Vanishing Shadow, Heart of the Pack, and Combat Provision. Essentially, there's a lot of synergy going on with this build. Now, if you decide to run it with Wave the Trapper, this one's much easier to utilize. When utilizing Vanishing Step, you'll activate Vanishing Shadow, thus allowing your Snare Smoke Bomb to charge much faster. Keep in mind that these effects wear off as soon as you break invisibility. This is why when utilizing the Graviton Forfeit, everything revolves around sneaking around the map, but most of all, being patient. Overall, you don't need Stompies or you don't need the Dragon Shadow to get high kill games in PvP. Be like Batman and use your tool belt to your advantage. But with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, which lets me know to make more content like this. Also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button for more Destiny 2 videos, and don't forget to turn on all notifications. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. I hope you all have a good day, and I will see you in the next video.